Approaching a wrestler in public to ask for an autograph or a photograph is either going to go really well or really bad. Now this actually depends on who you're asking, and also where the interaction takes place. For instance, approaching a wrestler at an airport after they've had a long week traveling around the country probably isn't your best option if you want to meet one of your favorite superstars in a better mood, as they're usually tired and extremely irritable and just want nothing more but to get home and rest. Over the years, there have been a number of incidents where WWE wrestlers have actually got annoyed at fans in public, and the circumstances surrounding these cases vary from incident to incident. But when did they happen? Well, join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 times WWE wrestlers got annoyed at fans in public. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 1. Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks is one superstar that you don't want to interact with at an airport. Banks has famously revealed that she finds it incredibly weird when fans approach her at the airport and seemingly know where she's going to be and when. Banks would state on the Not Sam podcast, "I grew up a wrestling fan, so I knew that I wanted to meet all my favorite wrestlers, but always in the back of my head I never thought in my life to be like, hey, they're gonna fly in, maybe I should wait at the airport for like 12 hours at the gate. Hey, they don't want any sleep, maybe I'll go find their hotel they're staying at and let me bother them." Like, to me, that's stalking. I don't tweet out what hotel I'm at, I don't tweet out what airline I'm flying. I do tweet what arena I'll be performing at, so I do expect fans at the arena, and I'm so happy to sign at the arena. That's fine because I'm telling you where I'm gonna be. If I see you in public, that's fine. Now, one incident that went viral in 2017 involved one of these aforementioned fans approaching Banks at the airport. She clearly wasn't happy with the fact that this fan approached her in the middle of the night. She then proceeded to refuse to smile for the photo, and as soon as the photo was taken, Banks would walk away from the fan to show her disapproval. Number 2. Mark Henry. If there's a wrestler you certainly don't want to get on the bad side of, it's the world's strongest man, Mark Henry. Unfortunately, a fan did in Ireland following a WWE show in 2010. The story centers on a fan who was asking wrestlers at the hotel that the superstars were staying at for the overseas tour to sign a birthday card for his young son. The fan admitted that many superstars such as Randy Orton and John Cena were all pleasant and polite, but this request didn't go down too well with Mark Henry. The fan would reveal, "I was trying to get as many signatures as possible on the card and my collector's book. Mark Henry was abusive and ignorant, but I got his signature and walked away. Suddenly he threw a drink around me from behind. I turned around to see him stand and square up to me. Suddenly John Cena and Randy Orton grabbed his arms and held him back. I honestly thought this was one of the plot lines backstage. I felt like I was watching this happen to someone else. Suddenly Chavo Guerrero piped up, egging Mark Henry on. That really annoyed me as I'm a fan of his. I thought this is going to get really bad as all these wrestlers were on their feet." Mark Henry would be arrested for the incident and given an adult caution. Number 3. Chris Jericho. Sometimes when you see a wrestler in public, you have no idea just how they're going to react when you're coming up to them. This fan found out the hard way in 2016 following an interaction with the first undisputed champion Chris Jericho. The lead singer of Fozzy was seen standing outside Irving Plaza following a tribute show for David Z when a confrontation began between the former world champion and a fight occurred. Numerous news outlets including TMZ reported at the time that the fan was very aggressive towards Jericho after he stopped taking photographs with him and just wanted to leave. The fan and Jericho began to throw verbal shots at each other, including F-bombs. Jericho would later apologize for the out of character incident, citing it was simply boiled over anger following the death of David Z. He stated, "I was not in a good state of mind at the time, and instead of ignoring a pushy, aka rude fan, which is what I would usually do, I snapped. My apologies to all involved." Number 5. CM Punk. CM Punk has often been criticized by fans for being miserable and irritable when approached in public.
"I am pissed off and I want to fight!"
There isn't a better story of this when a fan approached Punk at an airport prior to Raw's 1000th episode in 2012. There are two sides to every story, and one side states that the fan went up to Punk and asked him for an autograph and a photograph while Punk was reclaiming his bags. Punk then politely said no. The other side of the story was that the fan's request irritated Punk so much that he grabbed the fan's autograph book and threw it in the trash. It was rumored that airport security got involved in the altercation, as at one stage it became so heated that it looked as if it was going to get physical. Following the incident, Punk would later take to Twitter to address the situation and stated how it's a shame that one person ruins it for everyone else. Number 6. Austin Aries. In 2017, it surfaced on social media that a fan had a rather unpleasant experience with Austin Aries at an airport. The fan claimed that he approached Aries for an autograph and Aries berated him. The reason for this was because he had just appeared at a meet and greet event, and he claimed that the fan should have purchased an autograph at the event rather than pestering him at the airport. He naturally responded to these allegations and said he was stalked by 3 adults at the airport. He claims that he didn't buy anything from anyone at the wrestling event they attended and instead wanted free pictures from all the wrestlers. He followed this up by stating their actions are rude to real fans. Number 6. Ryback. Wrestling fans on social media often forget that wrestlers are human beings with real feelings, meaning that if you badmouth a wrestler on social media and then proceed and try and get an autograph with them, it's just incredibly hypocritical, and it could land you in a verbal confrontation. This was seen when controversial social media and YouTube personalities JD from NY and Joe Cronin approached Ryback at a public wrestling convention. Ryback instantly knew who the 2 men were and told him how their comments towards him have impacted him. Ryback then asked him, "Why are you asking me for a photo after all you do is sit behind your keyboard and bash me on a daily basis?" Kinda hard not to do, to be honest, as Ryback has asked for it on a number of occasions. But the 2 social media stars didn't know how to react, and in the end they didn't get the picture they wanted, as Ryback outright refused the request. Number 7. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins are 2 of the biggest talents in WWE, but this means that their public perception is incredibly important. However, an interaction with a fan in 2018 almost changed this for both talents. The fan would report that both men were rude to a group of children in a store and refused a photo with them. The fan added that Reigns would make a passing comment that he wasn't an animal in a cage when asking a fan to stop taking photos of him. However, once the fan posted their account of the incident on social media, fans jumped to the defense of Reigns and Rollins, who stated that it's their right to refuse a picture whilst they're out in public and they should be commended in any capacity for this. Number 8. John Cena, Mo Dean. There's a clear distinction between being a fan of someone and harassing them. However, YouTube personality, and we use that term loosely, Mo Dean clearly didn't know this during an interaction with John Cena in 2018. The YouTuber kept following Cena as he was just enjoying the day out in London, and as Cena left the store, Mo asked if he had any advice. Cena replied, "Yes, be respectful. That's my advice to you. Ask if you can take a video, but you're just shooting video. I don't want to talk to you. It doesn't matter who you are. You don't treat anyone with respect. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do. Thank you very much for being respectful." Cena then tried to walk away, but Mo kept following him, and Cena proceeded to turn around, informing him, "I need you please to ask. You're going to use all of this without my permission. You didn't ask to shoot. You're still filming. Be respectful." Cena then simply walked away from the YouTube personality, with Mo Dean still confused as to why he wasn't respectful enough. Number 9. Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is infamously known for having a strong dislike for other people. Lesnar himself admits he's a loner and really doesn't enjoy interacting with anyone other than his wife and kids. Therefore, when a fan approached Lesnar and his wife Sable at an airport in 2014, it didn't go well for the fan. The fan would approach Lesnar and Lesnar didn't initially hear them. The fan then asked for a photograph, and an irritated Lesnar replied with, "No, not today." The fan in question's friend, who was filming the incident at the airport, stated this regarding the rare interaction with Lesnar. Saori went up to Brock and asked if he was Brock Lesnar. Brock first didn't hear her until Sable said to Brock, "I think she's talking to you." Then Brock turned around and looked at Saori and asked, "How are you?" Saori said fine, and she asked him, "Are you Brock Lesnar?" He said yes, and then he asked, "Can I take a picture with you?" And he said, "No, not today." Saori then said thank you and walked away. I told Saori it was okay, no worries, it was still cool to see him and see my wife talk to Brock. And number 10, Randy Orton. Now, approaching a wrestler when they're doing a private activity such as going to the gym is not usually a good idea, and one fan found this out the hard way when he approached Randy Orton in the gym and Orton said no to a photograph. but the fan proceeded to take a photo without Orton's permission, which led to a verbal confrontation between the two. Also check out this situation between a fan and his young son deciding to take a picture of Orton in a bathroom, which was extremely strange and led to Orton referencing the incident on a Twitter post stating that there is a meet and greet scheduled, please meet him there, rather than a private setting. But there you have it guys, 10 times WWE wrestlers got annoyed at fans in public. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.